Is it? Okay.
You're ready.
2 minutes.
They're making, for electric, well, and for gas too, you know, they're making everything's energy efficient these days, so the price of electricity stays down, and they're getting more efficient. That's good. Thought it was one thing and turned out it was three.
No, I use difficult. Now's the time where you're gonna hurt. You strike out hurt to do it now.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Usually it's like that.
Is there a morning everything's pretty much the same rate? It's in the evening.
Well, I think it's officially 5:30, so I call this regular meeting to order. Join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording the roll.
All present?
Item C, approval of the consent agenda. Are there any changes that we need to be aware of?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Sim?
Yes.
Towers?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes. Item D, receive and place on file for the finance director, 1, statement of revenue and expenditures, and 2, monthly cash report.
Good evening. Tonight I'm reporting for the month of November. We should be about 42% to our expenditure budget as of the end of November. Did I say December? November. On the general fund, the first page here, the only department I'd like to know would be the city center, showing at 83%. We didn't budget for all the activity that we would anticipate going on down there. A lot of their expenditures are because of the revenue that they are taking in themselves, which is about 12,240 compared to the almost 10,000 of expenditures. So their revenue that they're taking in is also paying for a lot of the really coming down there, and the rents that are coming in are sufficient to pay for the utilities and maintenance of that building. So So we're okay with the city center. The rest of the departments are all in line. Going down to the period fund balance showing a negative. Again, the revenue sharing for September and October, we will be getting at the end of December. And then November's revenue sharing we'll be getting at the end of February. So they're always a few months behind. About $170,000 out of those 3 months. So that offsets that negative by a lot. So our general fund balance, general fund is healthy. On the second page, the major and local streets. Again, we're seeing those maintenance, surface maintenances come down and the winter maintenance increasing. The one to note here, surface maintenance in the local streets is over budget showing here. We did a lot of work. We will be doing a budget adjustment to account for that, just dollars that will be shuffling within the local street fund itself. On the next page, the equipment fund, we're starting to see the increase in that as expected with the winter maintenance, and the water and sewer funds are in line with their budget, which is fine. Library fund, again, runs a negative all year long due to the penal fines received after year end. Civic Center, we're starting to get that increase in activity down there. And the cemetery fund, we're seeing that decrease here with the winter weather. The volunteer fire department, note toward the bottom of the page, is over budget as well. They will be using fund balance. They didn't budget for it in the original budget. They'll be using fund balance to pay for some supplies that they purchased as well as the tournament that they attended. So they have sufficient fund balance to pay for that. They'll be doing a budget adjustment to reflect that in financials. The next report is the cash balances monthly report through November. Nothing significant to report. We have all healthy cash balances. And the last report is the check register report. Are there any questions? Thank you.
So item D, receive and place on file. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we receive and place on file the 2 reports in item D.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Cater to receive and place on file for the finance director, 1 statement of revenue and expenditures and 2 monthly cash report. Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item D, approval of monthly check register. We just saw that. Hopefully I can review it. Any questions or concerns on that?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I will second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the monthly check register report. Any further discussions or concerns? Roll call.
Semo?
Yes.
Sim?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Care?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes. Item F, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes we need to be ordered?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item G, citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda. A 3-minute limit, please. If you're able, please approach the podium and state your name. Okay. Takes us to old business. Item H, discuss and consider ordinance number 500, Book 5, repealing the city begging ordinance, section 18-6, begging in public places, article 1, chapter 18 of codes and ordinances.
We had previously received notification, I believe it was the ACLU, indicating that this section of ordinance was out of date. We did have a public hearing at the last meeting to repeal it, and this would be the City Commission's action on repealing that ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 500.
Repeal ordinance 500?
No, approve. Ordinance 500 is the ordinance that repeals our begging ordinance.
Fair enough. I'll second that.
Is that correct?
It is, it's an ordinance to repeal an ordinance.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Sims to approve ordinance 500 as discussed in item H. Any further discussion or concerns? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. The item, or new business, item I, update on federal health care reform and December health insurance renewal.
Okay, with this agenda item, I'm actually going to hit 3 separate but related topics. Federal health care reform, December health insurance renewal, and future renewals going forward. Federal health care reform has been a hot topic over the last year and a half, trying to deal with the changes that the government has instilled upon us and how to deal with them. With the health care reform, I hope you all had a chance to read my memo to Scott, kind of indicating the steps that we've been taking going forward. But come January 1st, there's going to be 6 new federal taxes and fees that are going to be assessed to the City of Ironwood's health insurance plan. And these taxes and fees will be charged to the City of Ironwood and not the employees. We don't have a say in the matter, we have to pay it. And to the tune of about $50,000 was calculated over a year span. Now we're halfway through our fiscal year, so this will be January through June, so we're $25,000 for this fiscal year. I think I noted in my memo that 40% of our participants are retired, so that will come directly out of the Retiree Healthcare Fund. And the remaining will be spread upon our different funds and departments. Probably about a third of that, $50,000 to $5,000, probably hitting our general fund directly. I'm confident that with our conservative budgeting and spending, that we're probably okay in this fiscal year to handle that, absorb that into our current budgets. But this will be a topic that we will be bringing up as we go through our next budget process, what the taxes and fees are going to be going forward and how it's going to affect us as far as reduced spending and so on. With the December 1st renewal, so January, these new laws take place, and our current plan year runs from July through June. Our normal renewal would be July 1st, and these federal regulations would take place. They're changing healthcare structures. They're limiting deductibles, which so you bring down your deductible, you increase your premium. One thing that affected the city largely was we're no longer a large group. Prior to this federal law, Blue Cross looked at us as a large group, over 50 participants that came from retirees as well as active employees. The federal government says that retirees can no longer be included in that calculation on large small group. So we have to look at only our actives that are enrolled in healthcare. We're under 50, that means we're a small group. What federal healthcare reform says is that you're limited to the options that you can choose from, and also you're limited on the deductible that you can pick, which all lead to increasing rates. So with discussions with employee benefits, our third-party healthcare administrator, they strongly encouraged us to do an early renewal, December 1st, 2013, this year, thus making our next renewal period, once federal health care reform takes place, later down the road. We're pushing off federal health care reform, basically, and how it's going to it gives employee benefits time to work with Blue Cross Blue Shield, work with the state of Michigan, do some more research with the federal government to see what, if any more options can we can the city of Ironwood have when we're doing our plan options. And maybe by that time, the state of Michigan will have done or came up with their own healthcare reform under federal guidelines with different things that they can offer to us. So we renewed early, thus pushing back federal healthcare reform and on our impact. keep our current plan in place, which employee benefits is pretty sure will no longer be available come December 1st, 2014. So it will allow our employees to keep their current plans for another, from another 5 months essentially. And it actually resulted in an increase in premium overall, an average 3% decrease in premium, which, because of our hard caps in place, it's all affects the employee, so it brings down the employee's premium. Since the city's, this is essentially capped. It leads me into December 1st, 2014 planning year. We don't know all the impacts of that yet. We're going to be meeting with a representative from employee benefits in mid-January to go over any new things that have come out since the last time we met. But early indications, as I mentioned, we're looking at decreased deductibles, increase in premiums, and reduced flexibility in plan options. So we don't know at this time, but hopefully we'll know more going forward and earlier. But right now, the way it's set up, as premiums go up, because the city is hard capped, the city's costs will remain. We'll know what they are. Anything increase is going to be borne by the employees. So right now, under our current plans, employees, depending on what plan option they pick, are paying between 15 and 25% of the premium. With healthcare reform and increased premiums, they're going to bear the majority of that increase. So we're getting to that point where it's becoming tough for a lot of employees, and we're seeing some frustration. But at least this decrease here in December and locking in these plan rates for a year to next November is a positive thing. One positive thing to look at out of federal healthcare reform. With that, I can answer any questions.
So Paul, you said that there was a 3% decrease in premium. What was that a result of?
Well, because we're a small group now, December renewal, our premiums are calculated differently. And we'll go through all the details, and I guess I don't know all the details either. But a large group and small group premiums are calculated differently based on census, age, plan, all that. So that's, in a nutshell, I guess.
Going forward, we don't know how the ACA will affect premiums down the road.
It's looking like increase. It looks like increase for everybody.
Well, I mean, they always go up, so the question is it going to be as much, less, more, I mean, we don't even know.
We don't know at this point yet.
In the hard cap, I take it that from what you said, because of the hard cap, the decrease in premium benefits the employees, but not the city. Is that correct?
The increase?
You said there was a decrease.
Decrease in premium, correct, yep. So the cities were capped, the policies that we have right now, the city is paying their portion of it, and then anything above that cap, the employee picks up. So it didn't bring that total cost down to where it would actually hit the employee side of it. It's just kind of taking off that top portion that the employee is responsible for, reducing that. Now going forward, this is where if premiums go up 15% and the hard cap, the city's portion only goes up 2.9%, that remaining is all on the employee as well.
Is that what we factored in, 2.9%?
2.9 was the most recent information that we have for the next plan year. Yeah. Last year was a 3.5% increase in the cap, with I think it averaged a 12.6% increase total.
Do we have a 3-year contract? Is that what we ended up with?
With through union negotiations?
Yeah.
Yes, they both through 2015, June of 2015.
Would you expect, the theory behind this is that there'll be so much more people in there, and there'll be a lot more competition between plans, and there'll be a lot more options now that sort of it's all, plans should be a lot more the same for everybody. So the theory is by the time 2015 comes around that eventually there'll be a pushback on the cost of premiums and whatnot. Do you see that at all?
I don't.
All
No. Unfortunately not, and I haven't seen any signs or talks from the insurance contacts that we've been working with. Is that federal health reform, the whole reason behind it is to get people on health care, but someone's got to pay for it, and And the people who can't pay for it are gonna get the governmental subsidies and tax breaks, and decreased, premiums, where the rest of the group for health insurance that can't afford it will probably be putting more into it. So, as the city of Ironwood, we offer affordable health care. Our employees can pay for it, but I don't know if it's gonna reduce premiums overall among all groups of people. Excuse me.
This doesn't have to do with the Affordable Care Act. Our health arrangement with our employees, our contract. I'm guessing that some of the employees have chosen to go below the cap.
Right now, we actually don't have any below the cap.
None.
The first year we did, but with the last increase, they all came above the cap. Yeah, there's some that are really close to it, where it's a minimal amount, maybe $20 a month, $30 a month, for our, higher deductible, lower plans, where it's, you don't get, paid, the city doesn't pay for some of the reimbursements like it would with the more expensive plans. For instance, ER visits cost $250 to go to the ER in our high deductible purchase plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Some of our plan options fund it down to $50. Some of them don't fund it down at all. So if you choose the plan that's not funding it down, you got a lower premium. But if you go to the ER, that's where you take your hit. So you got your risk and reward from the employee side of it. A lot of employees, give it up that comfort of knowing their expenses are going to be covered, and taking the risk that they're not going to have to go to the ER or have some big expenses.
Further questions? That was an update, so if there's any action required, item J, discuss and consider final payment to enter a P&O in the amount of $1,000 for the Social Security Administration Office renovations.
We are recommending a final payment to Angelo Pino. They have completed the work, they've completed their punch list work, Social Security is in, and all the work has been finalized.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the final payment described in item J.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to approve the final payment as described in item J. Any further discussions or concerns? Roll call.
Tower.
Yes.
Kayer.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item K, discuss and consider final payment to Arena Systems in the amount of $12,000 for the Paddle Down Civic Center ice smoothing equipment.
Again, that project has been completed. They've had some time to adjust the equipment out there to make sure it's all tuned in and working fine. The board has reviewed it. They're recommending final payment be made. We are holding on to $12,000. It does reflect the $8,000 credit that was given for the volunteer labor. So that's the balance to pay to Arena Systems for that project. Brian Green is here. If there's any questions?
Questions for Brian at this point?
How's the ice been? Green, all right.
I said, we have one quick question, Brian, are you noticing difference in your heating bills, your electrical bills?
We just got our November bill, and the gas was up obviously because it looks like about $1,500 down compared to last year. But our startup was in November and October, November, so that startup was on this bill, which costs a little more to run more compressors. So we are seeing a savings already. So it's maybe not right on target with what our figures were, but it's close.
We'll need a few months to
really gauge it in. And they're, like I say, they've been doing a lot of adjustments to the condenser tower and everything and getting that spot on. So next month should be right on.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the payment described in item K.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to approve the final payment as described in item K. Any further discussion or concerns? Roll call.
Kayer.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item L, discuss and consider rental lease agreement with Sandy Sharp in the city center.
This is one of the last few spaces that were available in the city center. They pretty much filled up the majority of them. Sandy's rental agreement is consistent with the others. It's $50 a month for her space. There's $5 of labor that she'll provide, and that's part of her in-kind. And then there's a $100 refundable deposit, and she's going to rent the suite BA22.
I'll make a motion, we approve the rental lease agreement with Sandy Sharp as described in item L.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to approve the rental lease agreement with Sandy Sharp at the City Center. Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item M, discuss and consider adopting resolution 013-033, authorizing an investment account with Wood Trust Asset Management and designating the city finance director, treasurer, and city clerk as authorized signers and authorizing me to sign all applicable documents.
Probably want to give an update, and maybe Brian can weigh in on the whole project here.
So now the good news, after all that bad news. We were contacted, actually, I believe Brian was contacted by a potential donor who was looking to give money to the Civic Center. And we did all we can to accommodate him, working through all the details, contacting investment accounts and all the people that we needed to get the proper documentation signed and get this done in the time frame that the donor would want. So I believe the letter was attached there from Mr. Mark Stevens and his wife. And donated approximately $150,000 to the city to use at the Civic Center for the purchase of a Zamboni and edging machine, with the remainder amount to go for capital improvements down there. We'll be dealing with that going forward here in the future. But this particular resolution is required by the investment agency to basically set up the account there and authorize signers, basically take our money out of there. So the funds have been transferred, and we're going to get them from our investment account to the city's account so we can spend it at the Civic Center. We need to create, designate signers for the account.
Can you explain how this common stock certificate thing works a little bit?
Sure. So Mr. Stevens had stopped anyone to donate and get it in for a year. But so we set up an account, and it actually worked out where he was able to transfer that stock to the city's account, and they immediately converted it to cash. And now that cash is sitting at this investment management company waiting for us to drop it. So it's, I guess, nothing too technical. I think they did it all electronically, I believe, the brokers on their end. But for us, we just have to sign this document, and then we'll withdraw it. So they take care of all the details on trading and whatever the price of the stock was that day. So I think it was Mr. Stevens' intention to give us approximately $150,000 worth of stock, which we immediately converted to cash, and it came out just above $150,000. So.
Are there any taxes on that, or I'm sure that will come as a charitable donation on his end, but do we have to pay a gift tax on that or anything?
Nope, the city doesn't have to pay taxes on it. There was just a nominal fee to do the transaction. I believe it was less than $500 that we would break on it. But no, the city doesn't pay any taxes on that.
Just a technicality, remember in the past when we received gifts, we had to approve receiving them. Do we have to approve receiving this donation?
I don't know that you have to. It might be good form to do that, since it is such a sizable donation.
Cool. I'd like to make that motion before we do the next one, just to be pro forma. I'll make a motion that we accept the generous donation from Mark and Denise Stevens to the Civic Center.
I'd second that.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Sims to accept the donation from Stevens for the improvements and Zamboni from the Civic Center. I don't know how much more detail we need to go into.
Close enough.
Thanks. Any further discussion and concerns? All those in favor, roll call. Roll call.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 013-023 as described in item M.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to adopt resolution 013-033 as noted in item M. Any further discussion and concerns?
I told you, this is like right in my wheelhouse, so, I'm sorry, like, how soon will said Zamboni be here? This is very exciting.
It looks like August,
Okay,
as long as we, at the next commission meeting in January, we approve purchase of the Zamboni, and send them a check for the first 25,000
okay,
deposit, they'll start building it right away. They don't have them just on hand like a Chevy pickup. They actually build them to order, so it looks like August is their safe bet, so I'm hoping July, so we can get the stickers and everything on them, so.
I just wanted to ask.
I have one more question. Will we be able to sell our other one? Is there any value to it?
From what I've looked at, $5,000 to $7,000 maybe.
Is it worth selling then, or is
I
it?
don't think so, not right away. I think we've talked about this, possibly we may need a small storage building over and outside to store it in, because there's just no room in the building itself, but I would recommend that we held on to it to the Civic Center board, at least for a while. Not to make sure that this new one's gonna run, just to have it. You never know, or a Zamboni could ruin, not having it could ruin a tournament or whatever. It's just nice to have that backup. With this new one, you'll find a lot more information out when we do come back next month, but it will be electric, so there will be no emissions. We won't have to run no exhaust fans, which in turn saves money. I've been doing a lot of research, and it's 53 cents a run for electric Zamboni. It's around $3.50 for propane, which we have now. So this is a go green money saving deal on it, so.
It's pretty awesome.
Good times.
Like, for those that don't know, I don't know if anybody's watching or if everybody cares, like Mark Stevens, they've been some of the biggest hockey supporters that they've supported that rink since I was a young kid. They've been extremely generous with their time over there, and man, they are some awesome people, and this is pretty great for the rink. It's been needed for a long time.
A long time. I think we have a 1973 right now, so after 40 years, it's time. Yeah, couldn't come at a better time, and I appreciate what he's doing for us, and it's a huge donation. We're real happy about it. So, any other questions?
Brian, can I just interject real quick? Brian, in following up on this donation and going electric, the Edger is going to be electric also. Brian has found out that they're trying nationwide in the next 3 to 5 years to mandate electric Zambonis versus gas operated or propane operated. So that puts us ahead of the ballgame big time.
Well, I mean, there have been kids that have like died in Minnesota. There you see stories like 2 or 3 times a year from kids that died because of emissions and stuff. Yeah.
Further discussion. I have a motion, excuse me, motion on behalf from Commissioner Semo and a second by Commissioner Kayer to adopt resolution 013-033 as noted in item M. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item N, discuss and consider adopting resolution 013-034 designating the city finance director, treasurer, and city clerk as authorized check signers for all city treasury accounts.
This is a housekeeping item. It's something that we want to make sure is on record. It's who signs right now, but if we formalize that by resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, second by Commissioner Semo to adopt resolution 013-034 as noted in item N. Any further discussions or concerns? Roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item O, discuss and consider adopting resolution 013-035, amending the Pocatello County Solid Waste Management Plan, allowing Pocatello County to accept waste from all Michigan counties and export waste to all Michigan counties.
And that pretty much states that actually, the transfer station that we're talking about, they do a management plan. They have had a group that has reviewed the plan. The county board has approved it with these changes. Each community in Pocatello County is asked to approve it or deny it. We are the direct member of that. We do all of our refuse does go to the transfer station, but it does come back to you for action to consider supporting this change. It is a good change. It allows them to be more competitive, to either bring their waste somewhere else. Right now, it's one landfill that's stated that they bring it to, and they kind of have a corner on the market. So it gives them some flexibility in negotiating prices, and also allows them to take some waste in if there's some revenue opportunity. So it is a good change.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution described in item O.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kay, resolution 013-035 is noted in item O. Any further discussions or concerns? Roll call.
Care.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Power.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item P, mayor's appointments. This time I would like to appoint for the planning commission the term expiring 12/31/16, Robert Burchell and Joseph Lemke.
I'll make a motion we approve the mayor's appointments for the planning commission.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve the appointments of Robert Burchell and Joseph Lemke to the planning commission. Any further discussions or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I have one other appointment to the library. This will expire 12/31/18. I'd like to appoint Catherine. We're going to have that with the last name, Masulewski.
Of course.
I move to approve the mayor's appointment to the library board.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the appointment to the library to Catherine Masulewski. Sorry about that. Any further discussions, concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Takes us to item Q, manager's report.
Just a few items to update everybody on. We know the holidays coming up here. We do want to let people know, it's been in the newspaper and on the radios, that during the holidays, the garbage collection stands as is. So if your garbage is typically collected on Christmas Day, they will be collected on Christmas Day. So just to, again, reiterate that so people don't miss that opportunity. City's just been through the financial audit of the city. We're going to set up a workshop, probably the second meeting in January with the auditors to go through that with the city commission. Everything preliminarily looks in pretty good shape here. We sat down with the auditors today to have kind of an exit interview with them. They're doing the final touches to the audit. So again, that'll be an opportunity for the city commission to really get into the audit, understand the finances of the city. And again, we'll do it on a workshop setting probably before that city commission meeting, second meeting in January. We're working on a couple of light cleanup locations on Bonnie Road, Hartley's property. That is work in action, I guess. Jake's Excavating has been up there taking material out. Right now, they're taking out some of the metal materials. They can't commingle that when they bring it to the landfill. So they're going through, sifting through that, separating up the metal, bringing that for recycling, and then they'll start hauling out the remainder of the material. Again, that project will be completed in the spring. They'll get as much done as they can this winter and then finish up in the spring. And the other property that was quite challenging was West Arch Street over by Longyear Park. Public Works Department did go in, did do clean up on that property last week. There were 4 large truckloads of material taken off the property. Again, we'll be back in the spring to do the final touch-up. A couple of the more difficult cases that we've had to work on. They are moving forward. A couple of events over the week here coming up. My understanding is the Miners Park Group is going to do a candlelight snowshoe and ski fundraiser on Saturday, December 28th. So just to make people aware of that, go out and support the park. And the trails are in very nice shape over there. It's a great winter for skiing and snowshoeing. And with that theme, the Superior Snowshoe Walk That's the community walk that's been going for a couple of years. They're going to be having their first snowshoe event January 1st over at the Visitor Center at the west end of town. And I believe it's every Wednesday they have a walk at a different location. And it starts at 6:30. And there's a west of where those walks are located. It is on the city website. And there's other, if anybody has interest in doing it, you go to the Sweet City website and get all the locations where those snowshoe walks are going to take place. Public safety is advertising for the sale of 3 vehicles, Andrew. So they have 2 that are confiscated, and then one is
The pickup truck.
the pickup truck. So those are out for bids, receiving bids. They'll take bids until January 3rd. So if you know anybody that's interested, have them take a look at those vehicles. We have a couple of events coming up. The Sisu Cross Country Ski Marathon is going to be Saturday, January 11th. So that's going full steam ahead with the Sisu group. They're meeting and getting all their ducks in a row for that event. And then the Snowmobile Olympus is going to be coming up here in January 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then 11th and 12th. They have 2 different events this year. And that's at Cleveland County Fairgrounds on the ice oval track. And I guess their ice making has been coming along very well. They had good weather for it this year. Snow hampers them a little bit, I understand, but still the ice is coming along very well for that event. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Takes us to item R, other matters, 3-minute limit. I'm not opposed to starting, so I just wish everybody happy holidays. I just wanted to make mention that a very big thank you to the Stevens family for providing the means to the Zamboni and capital improvements. And this just isn't a donation to the city, but it's a donation to the community, because there are so many people, young and old, that use the civic center. So just a big thank you.
Right. Kind of dovetails with what I want to make sure that we send them the, I don't know how you can thank someone enough for a gift like that, but we have to do the best that we can to thank them appropriately. I have a question about Sisu. Do we have all our city elements covered, all our public safety elements? And elements, is everything in place?
We do. We've submitted the permit for the closure of US 2. The railroad permit has been submitted to them with the insurance. And I think the public safety, we'll sit down again. We have the maps that we've had for past years and where barricades go, that type of thing. So again, it's going on the 6th year?
This is
fifth year of the event. So I won't say it's routine yet, but a lot of that is routine, which is good to hear. And Sisu is meeting periodically now, so we'll sit down with the planning group to make sure all of our elements are covered.
The one concern I have is maps to be put in the paper for reroutes for people in the neighborhoods. Does the city do that, or does the Sisu committee do that?
Sisu committee has done it in the past. Again, we'll talk with them and work with them to make sure the maps get in the paper and the notifications are properly posted.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other matters? Takes us to item S, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda. 5-minute please, if you're able to approach the podium and state your name.
I'd like to put it on record that this $8,000 volunteer credit we got at the Civic Center was a lot to do with John McGauley, Community Corrections Coordinator out of Bessemer. He's been working with the Civic Center for quite a few years with the old ice making system, rolling out the mats, rolling back up, sweeping the floor, and helping out. Well, he committed to basically a month and a half to help the Civic Center out get this project done. And you know, we did have a few volunteers, I can't name them right now, maybe 6 or 7, but he had his crew there at 8 o'clock every morning, bright and early, and they worked their butts off. So I want it on record that, you know, we did thank them, and that $8,000 really came because of that crew. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Item T, adjournment.
We adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer, to adjourn the meeting. Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.